Good afternoon, and then JR, thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Muller, and welcome to our monthly meeting, actually happening in the middle of the afternoon. Our guest today is Christina Nielsen, Porsche race car driver and CEO of Accelerating Change. Today, we welcome her. I'm going to speak for a few minutes, and then Rich, Barry, and Christina will start a discussion. So I want to thank any new members that we may have on the call. Thank you for joining us. I understand there was a great event over the weekend, Porsches and Pastries. If you want to see pictures or any information from the event, please check the Facebook page. Just quickly about myself, when I reached out to Christina the first time to ask her to be a speaker, I told her my passion for cars came from my dad. And in 1977, when Janet Guthrie ran her first race, he brought me out into the garage and had me listen to the start and said that history was being made and that women could be just as good as men drivers. And I think since then, I've always had the belief that, we need more women race car drivers, and someone like Christina is just, stand out person altogether. So I was really excited to have you join us. And again, wanted to say to my dad, thanks for starting my passion. And I'm going to turn it over to Rich and the folks on the call. We are going to have a $100 giveaway for the best question. So please ask some questions on the YouTube chat, and we will keep track of those throughout the call, and Christina will pick the best question. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rich. Thanks.
Sliding in. All right. Christina, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. Very nice of you to be here. So the time difference is working out for all of us, I think.
Yes.
You're far away. So for those who don't know you, we'll ask folks to not during the call, but after the call, to go to ChristinaNielsenRacing.com. You can find out a lot about Christina and her career. Ton of information on there, which was really, really helpful. So you have a very impressive CV. Obviously, you've run a number of different race series, a number of different tracks all over the world. Tell us a little bit about some of the race series that you've competed in.
Quite a few over the years. I started competing in Denmark, where I'm from, moved to Germany after that. I did quite a bit of karting for a couple of years. I started when I was around 13. Moved on to cars. I did Formula for a little bit, both in Denmark and in Germany. Expanded to the Middle East and to the US. And I have to say, I really fell in love with the racing in US. I fell in love with the racetracks that you guys have in America. So IMSA is the championship that I've competed in the longest. It's kind of been my home, and it's where I'm a champion. So it's a place where I really, really enjoy it. And every experience has been unique and has something special to it. But I would say America is my favorite place.
Now, for those on the call today who are local to NNJR, we have a number of tracks that we run on. Some of the ones that you've raced that some of our members might have also been on are tracks like Road Atlanta, Sebring, Watkins Glen, Lime Rock. You've been at VIR, I think, as well. Mosport and Daytona. So a lot of tracks that some of our members have actually been out on, which is really exciting. And you've driven quite a few. I know you've driven quite a few race cars, not all of them Porsches, which is okay. But can you run us down some of the race cars that you've competed in?
Absolutely. Of the GT world, which is the kind of category of racing that I've been in the longest, sports car racing. I raced Porsches, Ferraris, Aston Martin, Acura NSX, Mercedes AMG. I think that's it. Okay. That's it is probably the wrong word, but yeah, it's quite a list. My dad used to always say, look up and say thank you every time you sit in a new race car. So I've been very lucky.
That's interesting, because I wanted to ask you a question about new race cars. I have met a few race car drivers in my time, and they never seem to have trouble jumping into a new race car. It doesn't seem to phase them at all. Is there ever a part of getting into a new race car that concerns you? Is it the steering wheel buttons, or does anything get you confused?
Yeah, that was actually the thing I was thinking of. Normally it's learning the new manual, because you're so used to, like, everything is by memory, and you're so used to, okay, radio is up here, you know, drink bottle is down here, TC or whatever it might be. So definitely when you're in pressured situations, you need to be familiar with your steering wheel. And as you know, the years have progressed, the cars also get more technical, and there's more and more buttons to remember, and more settings, which are beneficial and helps us with performance and analyzing and everything that goes into racing. But yeah, I would say learning the cockpit is probably one of the biggest challenges right out of the gate.
Yeah, the steering wheels seem to get more complicated every year.
Every year, yeah.
And we have seen instances where someone has hit the pit lane speed button on their steering wheel at the wrong time, and had issues.
I've done that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't like I meant to hit any button. It was in Long Beach. The final corner, it's a super tight hairpin, and you're twisted all the way over. And I just, you know, you're below 60, and you know, I accidentally hit it, and then, you know, I got hit in the back, got it switched off, and kept going. So nothing too crazy, but yeah, I've done it in that incident.
I wasn't even referencing you. That's funny that it's happened. It's happened to more than one driver. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah. Well, I have on your site listed that you've driven 997 and 991 Cup cars, obviously. The 997 GT3R, which is a very fast car, the GT3 RSR as well, and I think Cayman GT4s. Have you driven those as well?
Yes, I just joined a program this year where Aurora and I are running one of those.
Terrific. Okay. And that's a good transition point to accelerating change, perhaps. So tell us, I know Aurora is she your partner on it? What is her role in accelerating change? So accelerating change is founded by me and my co-founder, Mariana Small. We are the founders of it and have been working on it together to build it into something that hopefully one day when somebody says women and cars, the next thing they'll say is accelerating change. That's kind of our goal. We want to be that kind of association. We want to be known as a credible resource for women to seek guidance, advice, experiences, anything that goes with buying a car, getting an experience on track, educational, whatever it might be. Aurora fits in specifically with one event because we're co-hosting an event at Monticello, actually. We're very excited about it. Shannon went to our event, which was in collaboration with Porsche North America, which was the Porsche Experience times Accelerating Change Day, where basically our women get to go to that event. Now the one we have coming up, which is the 28th of June, is actually our own independent event, and we're going to be opening registration and sending out information about it in the next 48 hours. So anyone that follows our social media, follows our or subscribes to our newsletter, get all the information, what they need to know to sign up. So hopefully if anybody would like to join, any ladies out there, then we hope that you will follow us and subscribe to our newsletter so you can come join our track day. That's awesome. Let's quickly just run us down. I'm assuming Facebook and Instagram. Are there any other places we should be looking?
Yeah, we have a Facebook group, Accelerating Change on Instagram. Then of course, if you go to our website, accelerate-change.com, you will find there'll be a little pop-up link that says, do you want to subscribe? And if you do that, that's the easiest way to get the information.
Terrific. All right. So there'll be like a place where you can get a newsletter from you guys.
Yeah. So for this one specifically, all the events go through also social media. But when we do collaborations with Porsche, for example, where it's private events that aren't for the public, it's specifically related to our members that receive our newsletter to get that kind of information. So I suggest doing both.
Yeah,
but I'm
of course.
biased. Yeah.
All right, I think Shannon has a couple of questions for you. Do you want to slide in?
Sure.
All right.
So I'll just read them off quick. You said you've been driving since you were 13. How would you say having that young of a start has given you an advantage? And do you think it has disadvantaged you anyway on or off the track?
I actually started late. Most people start when they're early, I would say 5 or 6. A lot of people average is 8 or 9. So actually I started a bit late, but for sure, I would say for anyone at any age, karting gives you the basics. You know, when you're driving a car, that there's a delay from when you turn the steering wheel to when the car actually makes a movement. There's a load change. You're dealing with a much bigger item. With a go-kart, you know, you're basically sitting with your feet over the parts of the steering rack. So, you know, when you turn a go-kart, it turns. So to learn the basics of driving and the kind of skill set that you're going to use the rest of your life, I say karting is also a great place to practice that no matter your age.
Okay. What's your ritual in terms of mental prep for a qualifying session or race start?
I would say the prep probably starts before the weekend. You know, it's going through some visualization points, like I imagine the feelings and watch myself as what I believe a good driver is. What are the qualities in a good driver? I'm going to be confident, I'm going to be aggressive, but I'm going to be smart. You know, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to continue to want to improve. These kind of things are what I tell myself. I have little silly things that's more performance related, but in terms of me feeling good, I like to leave my home looking nice. I like to try and be packed the evening before, like 8 p.m. I don't always succeed at this, but I like to try and be packed and be ready so I can sit down, relax the evening before. I watch some videos, some data, spend some time on the simulator. So things that makes me feel prepared. It makes me feel like I'm avoiding stress that is within my little bubble.
That's great.
What I do.
Okay. What was the first car you fell in love with?
It might be one that you don't know. I think in terms of a road car, it would be a little Seat Ibiza Cupra. It's quite fast. It has quite a few horsepowers, but I was out looking at my first car, and yeah, I walked in the dealership, and that was the car that I fell in love with at that point. So on the road car side, that would be it. On the race car side, honestly, I fell in love with any new race car that I get to go and see and sit in. Like I said earlier, I think I've been really lucky with all the cars I've gotten to drive. So I think each and one of them is something special.
Okay. You said you lived in Germany. Was wondering which is your favorite Autobahn and what's your favorite car to drive on the Autobahn?
The car with the most horsepowers and the Autobahn with the most free limit.
Good answer. What team has been the most supportive of women drivers?
I mean, I really enjoyed my time at, honestly, a lot of the teams in America. Again, one of the reasons why I like racing in America is because while there still is a stigma of it being a men's world, I would say the people in the industry are quite open to female drivers and, you know, see us as drivers in the end. I can still get the occasional, like, I'll walk with a group of male drivers to the entrance, and they're okay, but I need to show ID because, you know, you're a driver, what are you? So if I'm not wearing my suit, I can even get asked what my job is when I'm wearing a suit, and I'm the only one getting that. So there's those kind of situations where you can definitely still tell that people get surprised by having female drivers in the paddock. But generally, I mean, it hasn't been a thing. The truth is all the teams want us to perform and wants us to do well. You know, good experiences in anything from the Ferrari, of course, won 2 championships with them, to Mara Schenk, Heinrich Racing, but also with Ride Motorsport.
Great.
It was, it was all good experience. Also, sorry, I'm thinking in the past, also, of course, with the program now with Hardpoint and EBM. So
That's exciting.
actually quite positive overall.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to let Rich back.
All right, all right.
I'm going to check out some more questions.
We're getting lots of questions on the
Yeah.
YouTube feed, which is
Okay.
true. That's great. Okay. Well, let's just slide back a little bit to accelerating change and just talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
I know you had a quote that said, "I'm not a female who's a sports car driver. I'm a sports car driver who's a female," which I thought was great. What prompted you to start it? And, you know, like you said, I said you talked about what your hope is for the future of it, but where do you see it in 10 years? What do you want it to be?
Well, like I think as a race car driver, you're always thinking about what am I going to do the day I'm not driving cars anymore. And I would absolutely love to have more time to grow Accelerating Change together with Mariana. I always want to do more, but there's also a limit to the schedule sometimes. But yeah, Accelerating Change started when I met Mariana. I was a speaker at a Porsche event, and she was one of the organizers. And we were sitting in a group of women having dinner afterwards. And yeah, we just, we wanted to do more. We had a few other women that we were collaborating with at the time, but it was Mariana and I that stuck together and took this vision further. So, the agreement was we did an all-female track day, and, none of us had hosted a track day before. We had no idea how much work it actually included. And yeah, I mean, I remember the first day we had one sign up. I was so happy because I was like, okay, we're posting this to social media. Let's see how it goes. We made a registration page. I was just so happy. I'm like, okay, one person signed up, meaning it's not a complete failure. And then, we ended up having almost 50 women come out to the first track day, which is close to capacity. 60 is maximum for sure, is what we set as our limit. Based on, people having space on track. And I mean, that was besides the instructors. So some of the instructors drove as well. Right. So I think we ended up having around 70 to 80 people with the guests and the sponsors and the instructors and the participants. So an amazing experience. Seeing the women so happy, looking more confident, looking thrilled, looking, like they just got a taste of something they couldn't get enough of. Which is what I feel like when I drive. So I was super happy that I was able to share that experience together with Mariana and be providing more women with the kind of feeling that I get when I sit behind the wheel. But, we also address, we had a social hour together with AMG Thousand Oaks. And, the focus was also about the different career paths that you can take within automotive. There's definitely some transitions that people don't see, and creating a networking opportunity for the women to meet each other, to build a community where the women feel supported. And I think that's essentially what we did. I know sometimes when I come to coach, I can be standing with 60 guys. And I've tried being with a dealership there that was a partner of mine, and they asked me to come out as a guest instructor and be available to everyone that was a part of their group. And this guy comes up to me because I'm in civil clothes, and he tells me, like, if I need any pointers, I'm welcome to come and ask. And I just nod and I say, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Because there is an assumption that I need help. Which is, what we're trying to change.
Yes.
And then the irony is 2 minutes after, he's still standing there. And this other guy comes up to me and he's like, oh my God, Christina Nielsen, thank you. Like, it's amazing you're here. Like, congrats on the championship. So then, like, he was like, okay, you know how to drive.
But we'll let somebody else do that job for you. You didn't have to tell them, right? That's okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the gesture is nice, but it's more, having a little bit of a change in perception or mindset that, there can be women out there who can, produce lap times just as good as the men and can have just the same amount of experience. And I see Accelerating Change working because through all of our events, we see almost 50% of our participants being first timers. So they've never done a track day before and they've decided to join ours. So we do see that we're creating an opportunity that there is a market for, and that we hope to grow both with returning members and with new members.
Right. So that's amazing to see the first timers joining, which is great. That's really, really great. It's really changing things like yourself, like you're talking about. And obviously sad news with Sabine Schmidt, who we lost recently, who was an incredible driver and did a lot of work towards getting women drivers out there. Shannon, do you have more questions from the audience?
I have a few
All right.
more.
Coming in.
What is the best advice I should give my daughter who wants to start out in racing?
Best advice. Oof, I've gotten a few. I had actually Brian Sellers, who he's been, on the Falcon Porsche for many years now. He's on the Lambo deal. He's a champion of 18. He was actually my coach back in 14 when I first came to America. And he used to tell me, it is very hard to live by sometimes, but he used to tell me, be a swan. You're going to look strong and elegant on the outside, but underneath, like under the water, the feet are working. So, work for yourself, but make sure that you keep a strong presence. And then, you got to have some thick skin. And, I recently was taught a term that I actually think is quite good. It is, if somebody says something to you that is negative, their perception is not your perception. And there's no reason for you to hold on to their ball. You throw it back in their court. Because what they say doesn't have to stick with you.
Exactly. Great.
So
Like
focus on yourself.
Exactly. Here's an interesting one. What's the worst car you ever drove?
Can I say I have a dream worst car?
Okay, sure, of course.
I don't know if any of you guys know it. I really want to try and do 25 hours of lemons.
Oh, yeah.
I think it sounds so much fun. The car must be, excuse my language, but this is what we use, a shit box. It must be so bad.
We say that.
Yeah, but I think it looks like so much fun as well. So I think that would be a pretty bad car to drive, but I think it would be so much fun. So yeah, I think that would be my goal.
Okay, when you're racing, do you experience an adrenaline rush, or are you able to stay focused but a calm mental state?
I think everyone goes through an adrenaline rush when you're driving and you're in the car. I mean, some of us drivers have driven sick, with a fever or whatever it might be sometimes. And, that's the thing that makes you forget it. It's the adrenaline that's going through your body and kicking away whatever you might be feeling. So absolutely every single time.
Okay. What do you find most challenging about being a woman in a mostly predominant male sport? I think we kind of covered that. Will there be any accelerating change programs, events planned for Florida?
That's interesting. I am working on it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, working on it. Most likely it will be late this year or early next year.
Okay.
But I do have it on my schedule. I think I will personally be spending some more time in Florida as well. So yes,
Nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it back to
All right.
Rich.
Again, I'm just going to put it out there. If you follow social media, subscribe to our newsletter, you will get all the information about the upcoming events.
Right.
Thank you.
Terrific. Okay. Having driven 24 hours of lemons myself, I think it is a great event. So,
Oh, is it 24? I thought it was 25 for some reason. Oh, that's Thunder Hill.
They may have changed it. Oh yeah, 20. That's Thunder Hill is 25.
Sorry, I mixed those two up. Yes.
Yeah. They are horrible cars, and yeah, there's parts falling all over the racetrack, and it's a lot of fun.
Exactly. I would love that.
Okay, so let's talk about tracks a little bit. You mentioned that obviously you like racing in the USA, which is terrific, and we love that. I know picking it, all race drivers that I've met say, what's your favorite race car? Well, the most recent one that I was just in, which I totally understand. Do you have a favorite racetrack here in the US?
I do actually. I have a few, but I would say one is special to me. Road Atlanta. It was the first track I raced in America, and
Wow.
I thought I was going to shit my pants, to be honest. Those elevations, and you're coming over the crest, and you're going down through the final corner. Like, it's just impressive. Like, I think one of the dominant feelings that you have when you're driving around Atlanta the first time is that it's the car driving, not you, when you're like coming close to the speed that you're supposed to go, because
Yeah.
it is so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Watkins Glen, I love Sebring. So there's a lot of tracks that I think are phenomenal. But I guess Road Atlanta, because it was the first track in America that I drove, and you know, it's also been the season finale, so it's the track where I remember celebrating winning 2 championships.
Amazing. We don't, as a club, often get down to Road Atlanta. We haven't done that in the last couple of years, but a couple of us have gone down there to drive it, and the downhill coming onto the front straight is something very unique. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
like you said. Okay. You talked about your karting days, and I know you did Formula Ford after that. Was there, is there one that you prefer over the other? Are the karts more fun than the Formula Fords? I mean, they both have their different attributes.
I think go-kart, if I'm being honest. But I think also the benefit that go-karts has, which is what I had to get used to when I went to car racing, is, you know, kart, you do like 3 or 4 races, you know, they might only be 15, 20 minutes. But you do like, you know, 4 or 5 of them a day. And in cars, you're waiting around for like 2 practice sessions, 1 qualifying and 1 race, maybe 2 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more like go, go, go all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. Yeah, it seems like karts just give you that extra, there's no middle ground between the connection with the car. You're right there. It's always on.
Yeah, and the battles are close. You know, you're not dealing with downforce or anything that can prohibit you from getting close. Like it's just game on.
We've a lot of folks who are watching the Netflix series with the Formula One series.
Oh, I love that. I'm obsessed.
Everybody is, right? It's terrific. Yeah. I think it shows
really good stuff.
From a marketing point of view. I think it shows a different side of the drivers that people just don't get to see when they watch any kind of race coverage. And I found it very interesting to see that literally every driver started in karting. There's not one that didn't start there.
Yes.
Which is really amazing. And I think that's great for little, you know, girls who want to get started in racing, and to say that there's an obvious path, right? It's terrific. Yeah.
Do you kart anymore, Christina? Do you go kart?
Rarely, but I do once in a while, but not very often, but yeah.
Have you raced the Nürburgring?
Yes, I was just there last week, actually.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. I'm retaking my permit. I'm doing the 24 hours this year.
Wow. Endurance racing seems to be your thing. You really do enjoy it.
I do. I think it's a cool format.
Absolutely. Okay. What have you been doing? We're all assuming folks had downtime during the pandemic. What did you find yourself doing with any downtime?
Well, I bought a house in December, so a lot of house projects was definitely a part of it. And then we worked on the program. Like it's you know, it's difficult to make it through, and with sponsors and so on. So you know, that was a big focus. Trying to, you know, still remain relevant in racing. Right. But yeah, I mean, on the home front for sure, you know, my house and getting that off the ground, and just I got a dog. Yeah, I was one of those people. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I used to live 5 years in California. I've always been a huge dog lover. But I didn't have the network. Now I moved back home. You know, I live within like 15 minutes drive from my dad and my 2 sisters and my aunts. So you know, they're the second child, and now when I'm gone, they take care of her.
Right.
But yeah, it felt like a good opportunity to be home with her when she was a really young puppy. Yeah. Which I got to do, which I loved.
That's great. And we should mention your father, Lars Erik, who obviously had a successful racing career of his own. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely.
Do you feel like he obviously he must have been the one that got you started, or was it something that you did on your own?
I actually went to a go-kart track with a friend, and just I just fell in love with it, and I went home to my dad and asked if we could go karting. So he actually wasn't the one who said, you know, we're going to go and do this, but he's been my #1 supporter from the first day I went and asked about it. I
can imagine his eyes when you told him you wanted to race karts for the first time. It must have been
fear going through. It wasn't. No, I mean, I'm the youngest of 3 daughters, so I guess I was the last. Last choice for that. Yep. So that ended up being me.
That's great. Okay. Because you are from Denmark, we're going to have to ask you some questions about Denmark, which I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
And I know that not everybody knows this, but tell us about the concept of, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so please forgive me, hygge.
Hygge.
Yeah, hygge. There you go. All right.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Hygge is something that's, I don't know, we have a word to describe it. Everyone does it, but we just have a word for it. It can be anything from, sitting on a rainy day, inside when it's cold outside, having cocoa, with the duvet on the couch, watching a movie with your partner or with your friends or your family. It can be me going to a racetrack with my dad as a tourist, sitting, eating local food and watching the race with our radios on. That's also hygge because that's something we enjoy. It's essentially something that I would classify as, it's a casual experience for you. It's something that's really nice and it's cozy.
Okay.
So it can be a lot of different things. It's not just one thing. It's also correlated to what the person consider being quality time for them.
Is it a state of mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Also because you're relaxed, you're feeling happy, you're feeling warm, and I'm going like this because you're just having a good time. It's probably where you feel the most at ease.
Okay. Tell us about J Day.
J Day is the day that we have the Christmas beer coming out, and everyone goes out and drinks it. It was a huge disaster this year because the country closed down all bars and restaurants right around the time that it came out. So people were not happy. It's iconic also because it's the one commercial. It's a super cute commercial, and it is still the same kind of commercial like design that they use still. I don't know how many years later. But I guess it's an excuse to go out and drink, but it's a good one.
Does it sort of kick off the holiday season?
It can be, for example, sitting on J Day with your friends, having the Christmas beer, and enjoying yourselves. That can also be hygge.
Okay, there you go. All right, they're connected. Okay. This is an interesting one. What happens when you are 25 in say Copenhagen and you are single? What do they do to you?
So it's actually not in Copenhagen. It's on the other side of the country.
Okay.
It comes in very different variations. But you get cinnamon basically thrown at you. Some are quite extreme with kind of like water guns shooting at you. You'll be tied to a pole. You'll be stripped from your clothes, only in your underwear.
Wow.
I would say it's mostly the guys that do that.
Okay.
And you get you get a lot of cinnamon on you, like you're completely full of it. And for the little nicer things, they'll make like cinnamon rolls, and you sit and eat that with your friends. It's probably more the girls that do that, and somewhere in between. So that's apparently what we do.
It's basically a way to tell people that they should be getting married. Is that sort of the concept, or celebrating being
it's a
single?
super old tradition. So yeah, I guess it was like, hello, you should change your status here. But yeah, I guess it's a very old tradition.
Old traditions die hard. We know that. Okay.
Yes.
We know that you travel a lot, and obviously in the years past, you've been all over the place. When you're away from home, what's the one thing you miss the most?
Now it's my dog.
Of course.
But I think, with the amount of nights that you spend in a hotel, I miss sleeping in my own bed. Sometimes I get to the airport and they're like, "Hello, miss, where are you flying to today?" And I'm like, 1 second. And I have
to remember.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shannon, do you have more questions from the viewers?
I have one or two.
Okay. We're gonna
get them there.
That's okay.
What other sports do you do aside from racing?
I play a lot of tennis, actually. I used to play tennis for like 6 or 7 years when I was younger. Then I started driving go-karts, and I thought that was way cooler. But yeah, I have a couple of girlfriends back home that I play tennis with, enjoy it and have a really good time with it. I mean, it's been a little bit more difficult, a bit more home training during these times because Denmark, like gyms have been closed since December. So that's been, you know, what we've been having to deal with. But yeah, when it was open, you know, we did circuit training. We did, it's called Reformer Pilates. I guess it's the same in English. And tennis, that was the main things.
That's great. Keeps you busy.
Well, it was COVID time, so I had time.
Yeah. Now, this is a silly one. Should we make flying cars? Why? I don't know why this came up.
Should we make what?
Flying cars. I promised I would ask. That might be pretty unique.
I mean, with how drivers behave on track sometimes, I think we're just asking for more trouble if we get a flying car.
And how can people support accelerating change?
How can people support? I mean, you know, any introduction to, so what you normally see is that accelerating change normally have partners associated with the events. We've had Porsche, we've had Michelin, BMW. So if there's anyone in your network where you feel like there could be a cool B2B opportunity, something where they could benefit from getting access to a new female audience, you know, that's absolutely one way. The cool thing is a lot of like, for example, local dealerships benefit from our events because it is women from the area that are coming. So it is people who are actually present. That's where they're making business. So, you know, on a Michelin side, for example, we've had them at several events, and it's because, you know, they're a global company, but they work all over the country. So it's been beneficial to have several different locations. So any introduction to partners that we could collaborate with in the future would be great. You know, supporters in terms of help spreading the message. If you know any social media groups or just friends that would want to participate, help spread the word, because we still are a new company. So we have a lot of spots for Monticello to fill, and we'll be very grateful if people will help us try and make the events sold out.
I'm sure, I have no doubt that's going to sell out. Well, that's it. That's an interesting question. What do you do in the off season?
I always try to go on holiday. I rarely succeed because it goes by so fast, especially like, yeah, I mean, the American season has a very short off season. I wouldn't say there actually is an off season, but yeah, I used to live in California for 5 years. So I for sure spent normally a month in Denmark. I went home around Christmas time, New Year's time, but the roar for the first official test of the IMSA program was also normally first week of January. So we finish in October and then we go there. And honestly, a lot of the time is spent getting the deal for next year in place.
Gotcha. Would you like to talk a little bit about the 12 Hours of Sebring?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Sebring is always, you know, unpredictable, which again, it was this year, but we stayed out of trouble and we actually were competing for a podium in the end. A bit of contact, you know, a bit of decisions made out of our control, unfortunately put us out of that contention, but still a top 5 finish with how late everything was coming together. I think it was a really good job.
That must have been a fun party afterwards. That's a huge accomplishment, just finishing the race, let alone coming in 5th. So
yeah, it was cool. Absolutely.
I was screaming the whole way and I really felt gypped at the end, but you guys took it all in stride and, you know, you'll go get them next time. So
we hope so. Absolutely.
Rich, you got a few more?
All right, I got a few more. Sure. Do you have a favorite driver? Anyone that you looked up to or like to watch?
When I was younger, you mean?
Yeah.
I think with being a Dane, I think Tom Christensen is a great example. He was, you know, he's been a great brand ambassador. He's been, you know, probably what I would say is the full package. He's been one of the most successful drivers in the history of motorsport, also with his victories at Le Mans. So I think he's a good starting point. I mean, my old co-driver, Alan Simonson, also had a lot of qualities that I admired. But I think even, probably what you guys see from the Formula One Drive to Survive season is that, there's a lot of good drivers out there to learn from and to pick up things from. And while they all have different personalities, they all bring something to the table. And I think it's interesting to see how much, can be brought to a table when you're putting different people at it.
Absolutely. A lot of folks may not see Tom or didn't see Tom race a lot because he raced in touring car, which didn't have a lot of coverage over here. But he made a ton of appearances in a show called Top Gear that we all sort of know very well. And he did a lot of funny things with Top Gear over the years. So he's well known, certainly in that aspect as well. If anyone wants to run the 24 Hours of Lemons with you, where do they contact you?
They send us a DM. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just shoot us a DM on social media.
You may find
Instagram, I would say.
Okay. All right. You may find some folks who want to form a team with you to run the next Lemons race.
Sounds
so watch
cool.
out.
No, I have a request then, because I have a co-driver that's always wanted to do it. So maybe there needs to, if it's possible, to have 2 seats.
Listen, I don't think there's going to be any problem filling the seats around you. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, it's my old co-driver, Alessandro Balsan. So it'll be the 2 champions back together. That'll be
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think that car won't know what hit it when you guys get behind the wheel. That'll be terrific. Okay.
What a surprise.
Is there a race that you haven't done yet that you would like to, or a series that you'd like to compete in that you haven't been able to yet?
Honestly, if somebody asked me, like, can you pick a series for the rest of your life, I would say first choice would be just to be in America.
Okay.
But I'm really a big fan of IMSA. So I think that would be my choice if I could pick a series for the rest of my life. I've been very lucky. I've raced a lot of places. Top of my mind, I'm not sure, to be honest.
That's all right. Well, if you're a fan of America, is there a favorite place you like to visit when you're here?
I absolutely want to go to a NASCAR race.
Oh.
I have not gone to a NASCAR race. I am dying to go to one. That is on my bucket list.
That is a shame, and I'm sure we can make that happen because we have some connections. That's terrific. Okay. It's quite the experience, the infield in certain tracks. I'm sure you've been to the infield in Sebring, and that's an experience in itself. So
it is, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do a little bit of this or that, things that you like or don't like.
Okay.
Do you prefer stick shift or flappy paddles on the steering wheel?
Stick shift.
Stick
No,
shift.
wait, no paddle. It doesn't give me the blisters on the hand.
Okay. All right. There you go. I know we know you drove the Mercedes-Benz AMG. So front engine or rear engine, which is your preferred?
Mid-engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Split down the difference. Okay, split the difference.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm biased. I won 2 championships in that, so it's. But yeah, no, I mean, all of them are good choices for sure.
Yeah, NSX is a terrifically balanced car, as is the Cayman. So
yeah,
it's hard to beat that mid-engine design. Here's a strange one: American hot dog or Danish hot dog?
If I can also just add to the last one, the Porsche RSR, I drove it at Le Mans in 2018. That was also one of the cars I thought of, mid-engine. Very cool experience.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't or haven't seen quite how mid-engine that car really is.
It is proper mid-engine.
Yeah. All right, now back to the silly question: the
Yes.
American versus Danish hot dog. Which do you prefer?
I am gonna go with Danish for sure.
Okay. All right. And then the last one is the S's at Watkins Glen or the S's at VIR. Which do you prefer?
The S's at Watkins Glen are easy for us, and the GT car, they're flat. So I'm going to say the S's at VRR are the real challenge.
More of a challenge. Okay. Fair enough. Shannon, you have a couple more?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
have a couple quick things. I think we're going to be wrapping up soon, Christina. And I know it would have been hard for you to keep track of all the questions. But if I had to say the one question that got the most rise out of you, and I saw the most animation, was what is your favorite road on the Autobahn and what was your car? So that's Fred Applebaum. If you would like to inbox me, I think he should get the $100 giveaway question. And
Can I add one thing to that? Sorry.
Of course.
I'm 100% on board. I thought that one was a super funny one. I just want to say, whoever asked about support, what can you do to support accelerating change? I appreciate that. One of the things I love about the Porsche community is that, everyone are so including and supportive. So, that means a lot to us. So just want to say thank you for that one.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think that is about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we wrap this up again, telling folks to check out Accelerating Change, sign up for that Monticello event, sign up to become a member of Accelerating Change. And I will make sure this gets posted both with you and on our YouTube channel, so we can share that with folks that weren't here today. And, I want to say thank you. I know how valuable your time is, and I really appreciate that you gave us this time today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, great. This was